Okay, so this next phase is going to be how to actually set up the stream on like Facebook and YouTube. We'll focus on them for now. So what you want to do is you want to go into settings and you go to stream, and then here you have to select what account you're planning to use. So for example, if you use Facebook, okay, so basically this setting will jump into like what the actual canvas means, but it's basically saying we're going to stream this in 720p. Is that fine? You want to continue because that's like the default that Facebook offers for most of the streams. We'll go yes, and then you log onto your Facebook account. You can click wherever you see like the live video option, but for the purpose of this I'm just going to use a test page that I normally use on my streams. So once you hit live, and you can be on any browser, it's going to ask you, do you want, how you plan to go live, or do you want to actually create an event? So if you know that you're having like a show that's happening like next week, you can set up an event on Facebook, and just instead of having people attend physically, they can actually attend, you know, virtually and watch via the live video. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do it for now. So we'll just click on go live now. We'll select that. Okay, so now we're going to select streaming software. Facebook is always trying to give me this tips. No, thank you, Facebook. So now it's going to ask you, okay, you have to actually copy this stream key. There's a couple of settings that's a bit more advanced, but for now, one of the things that I want you to look at is under here. You'll see settings under stream setup, and then you go to stream, and then here it'll say like end video if the stream stops. So you want to make sure that this is turned off. It's weird that this is turned on by default, because let's say your internet cuts out for like a minute, or you run out of data, you just want to buy something quickly, Facebook will just like end your stream. So I mean, then everybody that joined using that link can't access it anymore. So what you want to do is just disable that so that the stream can continue. So the minute you get more data, or you swap routers or whatever, the stream will just continue. So you want to make sure that that's turned off. Yeah, that should just be off by default. Okay, so now they're just going to ask you what is your actual stream about, and I mean, for this purposes I'll just say test, and then over here I'll go test again. Once we hit save, okay, so now if you go on top, they say first we have to connect like a video source. So what they mean is actually copy the stream key and paste it into OBS. So we're gonna hit up OBS. You see with the option where it says stream key, we're gonna paste it in there. Yeah, sometimes this thing is a bit too small. I'm just dragging it down so I can get to the apply over here. We'll click apply, and now we'll click start streaming. So start streaming doesn't necessarily mean you actually live. It just means that OBS is going to send the upload to, it's going to send the upload to Facebook, but it's not necessarily live yet. So then once you go back to Facebook, you will see that now the go live option is actually there. It said connect video source, that's done. We've added like post details, and now we must just go live. So once I hit go live, yep, so now we're actually live. So what will happen is any scene that you on, that is what will be displaying now currently. So you can see if I go back to OBS, we're currently on the front camera screen, and then that's actually live now. So if we move over to the band, go to stage and hit transition, just go for that side angle, then that will be live on Facebook. So the important thing to know is there's about a minute delay between what you see and what actually enters on Facebook. So it's not out of sync, like the audience will see it completely in sync. It will just be a minute delayed from where you at. I mean, there are options to like change that, but for now we'll just leave it as is. It's not too bad. And then there we go. So we can take it from there. I'll move back into the laptop. So you can see over here in the corner we've got this bitrate is what we call it. So you can see it's fluctuating between like 600. We've got 1100. So what you can do is you can also change the bitrate on OBS as well. So the bitrate is how much like determines like the quality of the output. So if you can, for example, if you see like a file, it might be like 1 gig, but it might be like 20 gigs per second, or 20 megabytes per second. That will be the bitrate of the file. So if the file is like 5 megabits per second, then it will be less quality than if it was like 20 megabits, for example. So whatever you set your bitrate to, that's the amount of data that will be sent through at the time. So if you got it set to like, for example, 3000 kilobits per second, then you're looking at like spending 3 megs per second. So like in 1,000 seconds, it'll take like 3 gigs. So you can see over here it's currently in green. So I'm gonna just go to settings so we can see like what we want to set the bitrate to. So if I go to output, you can see it's set to 2500, and that's fine if you're doing like 720. You want to go at least 2500 to 3500 if you're gonna do 1080. You can dive into more advanced settings after this, but that's just the basics. And then as long as it's in the green, you'll be good. So you also want to make sure that you don't just choose like a stream bitrate that's too high depending on the internet speed you have. So for example, like in my home, we've got the 10 megabit upload speed, and so for that we must make sure that the stream is never more than like 8,000 kilobits per second, or 8 megabits per second, because it must be maximum like 80% of your total speed. Because remember, your computer still has to do other things. It still has to like check on Facebook if people are commenting. It still has to like receive information. So you can't max out the speed. What you also want to do is make sure that there's no other devices connected to the internet that could be pulling some of the bandwidth. So once you set up your stream, it will also tell you like how much frames are you dropping. So you can see like while the internet was still finding its feet and it wasn't working, we dropped 1,000 frames. But now it's starting to steady out. The internet is stable, and that number is going to decrease. It should end up on like 0 point something, because the longer you go on, the less percentage of dropped frames they are. Okay, so that's how you jump to YouTube. Again, you stop the stream. So that's how you go to Facebook. So we're just going to do like a YouTube, like how do you actually do a live on YouTube? So one of the first things to note is, I'm just going to end it on Facebook. So one of the first things to note, when you're actually doing a stream on YouTube, you can't just go live via your phone like you do on Facebook. So Facebook, you have the option to either use some type of broadcast software like OBS, or you can actually just go live on your app. But if you have YouTube, in order to go live from the YouTube app, you need at least 1,000 subscribers before you can go live via your phone. So if you're going to use YouTube for live streaming, you absolutely have to use some type of streaming software. So the way you get into YouTube, and when you're setting up a YouTube account, you actually have to activate it for live stream. So it will take 24 hours to activate your account when you want to go live for the first time. So that means if you're planning to do an event tomorrow, you can't just do the event tomorrow. You would have had to set up your account at least like 2 days before the time. But once it's set up forever, and you can stream forever. So you'll see on top here, if you're on the YouTube website, you've got this camera icon, it says upload video, and then just below that is go live, and you'll see it looks very similar to the way Facebook looks. There's always like there'll be a place to get like your stream key. You can also set up an event similar to Facebook, but for now we're just doing like the go live. So you'll see that here's a stream key. The YouTube stream key is often like much shorter than Facebook one. So you can give it a title, you can say description, but this is important, like this visibility. So you can set it to be private or unlisted. So unlisted means maybe you're setting up a stream and you just want to send like the family a link to the funeral, for example. You can just unlist it so anyone with a link can actually view. But if something is public, then anyone that subscribes to your channel can actually watch it. So you want to determine like what is important. So let's say it's for a church, you might just have it on public, because anyone that liked the page or subscribed, in this case to the YouTube channel, can see the stream. Here's also something that people often get this wrong. Like sometimes it will ask you to select the audience, and then it will say yes, is made for kids, or no, it's not made for kids. So people would say yes, it's made for kids, but what that does is it disables like your mini player. So I don't know if you ever were on YouTube, and sometimes you just scroll it down to have it appear at the bottom of the app, so you can continue scrolling. It will just end the stream on your phone, so you won't be able to like watch it, because it's like it disables mini player mode, so you can never watch it if it's set for made for kids. So it seems like it's a good thing, but it's not really practical. So yeah, because you want people to keep watching your stream. So you can just say no, it's not made for kids, but you don't have to put on any age restriction. So they just won't group it with like Coco Melon and those kind of stuff. But they just be like, this is a normal stream. It's not really for kids, but they can also watch it, kind of thing. And you can just stick that there. Okay. So we're gonna grab the stream key. We're gonna go into OBS. We're gonna we hit settings. We're going to stream by service. We're now gonna click by service. We're now going to click YouTube. So on the previous versions of OBS, it would just ask us to connect account. Now it's saying you want to connect account, but that's not what we want to do. We're just gonna click on use the stream key, and it pops. We're just gonna click on use the stream key, and we'll just paste it in here. You can see it's a bit shorter than Facebook's stream key. We'll click apply. Okay, and so now the same applies. We hit start stream. Okay, everything looks good. No frames dropped. So YouTube, and there we are live. So there we go. We just want to make sure that everything is displaying. So I just click out, and then you can see we are live, and it shows excellent connection. YouTube is actually my preferred place to stream because it will give you like the stream health. It will tell you up the bitrate, drop the bitrate, that kind of stuff. Facebook just sort of does whatever, but YouTube will tell you the stream is healthy or the stream is not, or you maybe need to change like some of your settings or use a faster encoder or whatever, and we'll dive into that if you stick around for the latest series. But that's how you do a basic stream with what you have, and thank you for tuning in.